The mother who convinced a hospital to stop caring for her daughter, a little girl who was not critically ill, learned today just how much time she'll spend in prison. This afternoon, a judge sentenced Kelly Turner to 16 years in prison. Olivia Gant died in part because her mom pushed Children's Hospital to stop treatment.
Despite the many benefits associated with drugs and medication, everyone and anyone who has used drugs, especially very potent ones, is very aware of how dangerous drugs can be if they are abused. This is what makes the incidents described in today's episode all the more bizarre and strange. Kelly Renee Turner Gant originally lived in Pasadena, Texas, with her 3 children and husband. Their marriage was described as a difficult one, which might have formed a part of Kelly's decision to move from Texas to Colorado. Some sources, however, state that Kelly moved to Colorado because she wanted her kids to live near the Children's Hospital to receive the best care for their illnesses. The family saga started with their first visit to the Children's Hospital, Colorado, where Kelly reported that her little girl Olivia had developed severe constipation. The hardened stool in the little girl's colon was removed and the issue was resolved. They were then discharged and sent home, which should have been the end of it all. But Kelly came back again, stating that all was still not well. According to her, Olivia was now unable to eat properly. After exhausting all options, numerous surgeries were carried out for Olivia to enable her to eat. This led to the use of feeding tubes to facilitate her feeding. In fact, one of the surgeries, her small intestine was rerouted through her large intestine to enable them to take away fecal matter from a bag of fits to her stomach. Anytime a procedure was successfully completed, Kelly would come back with a new symptom or challenge that was worse than what Olivia had previously been treated for. She kept complaining that her baby girl was getting worse, and in response, more drastic measures were taken by the medical team, albeit they did so reluctantly. The end result was the use of intravenous tube to feed nutrients directly into her veins or bloodstream. Naturally, all of these procedures took a toll on Olivia, and not just emotionally or psychologically, but physically as well. By the age of 7, the young girl was confined to a wheelchair and bedridden. Among the many medications she was on, her mother asked that she be prescribed anti-seizure medication. A specialist stated that this was not the best alternative, yet Kelly insisted that she be given the drugs. She was basically on heavy narcotics throughout her time in the hospital. Kelly, on the other hand, was busy sharing the progress of her daughter's treatment online. She was taking pictures and uploading, as well as telling Olivia's story. All who saw her posts empathized with young Olivia and started to send in donations. Updating her newly found audience became a daily routine and an important part of her life, which she took very seriously. After all, sympathizers were sending in donations, and each post brought in more people. Kelly then started to tell all who were aware of her daughter's situation that her daughter, Olivia, was now terminally ill. Basically, they didn't expect her to make it, and as you can guess, this created a buzz around the young girl. Many felt sorry for her, and who wouldn't? No one expects such a life for anyone. As expected, many individuals and organizations rallied around Kelly to make Olivia's dreams come true. With the aid of organizations like Make-A-Wish and other groups, she was able to put together a bat-themed party for Olivia. The booking for the party alone cost $11,000. Kelly encouraged Olivia to prepare bucket lists of things she would want to do, and she treated this as a bucket list for the young girl before Olivia passed. She then shared this bucket list with her loyal followers and other donors. Government organizations like the police and fire service were not left out, as they had special events for Olivia to help tick off some items she had put on the bucket list. She actually wanted to be a police and firefighter for a day, and they made that happen for her in a grand style. With her situation deteriorating, Kelly started insisting that a do not resuscitate order be signed for the girl. Her doctors refused to sign the document, but Kelly, Olivia's biological mother, was not going to take no for an answer. She kept switching doctors until she found doctors willing to sign the documents for her. After these documents were signed, she could have Olivia's feeding tubes removed so she could take her home. This placed young Olivia in hospice care. Despite her situation, Kelly reported that her daughter was in high spirits and singing Hakuna Matata with her. This high spirit was, however, not good enough to keep Olivia alive. With her feeding tubes gone, eating was now a challenge. She had nothing but melted popsicle juice rubbed on her lips with a sponge to serve as nutrition. You don't need to be a medical expert to know that the young girl was definitely going to starve. She even told her grandfather that she was hungry one time he visited, and he felt helpless to help her. The young girl was basically starving. Within weeks of being sent home, Olivia died, and she was stated to have succumbed to her mysterious illness. The cause of death stated at the time was intestinal failure, and that's what everyone was told. She had only lived to the age of 7. Everyone assumed they knew what had happened, but a year after Olivia's death, investigations were opened against her mother, which led to her arrest in 2018. There were some among the authorities, as well as members of the medical staff, who believed Kelly's claims about Olivia was false. Despite their suspicion, however, it wasn't until she brought Olivia's sister to the hospital a year after Olivia's death that local doctors and welfare workers became concerned. What's more, she was bringing the young girl for treatments that were not medically necessary. The symptoms she claimed the child was having were practically non-existent. This had them wondering, could she have told similar lies about Olivia? Given the mysterious and strange nature of Olivia's illnesses and death, law enforcement officials were tipped off about Kelly's suspicious actions, which led to her being investigated. The investigations led to some rather bizarre and scary findings. Olivia's body was exhumed in 2018. An examination found no evidence of any of the illnesses and conditions that Kelly claimed Olivia suffered, including the seizure disorder and buildup of fluid in cavities deep within her brain. Her cause of death is now listed as undetermined. Doctors interviewed also confirmed that she didn't in any way have a terminal condition. Kelly was actually guilty. But why would Kelly go so far as to put her daughter's life on the line? It's thought that she did so for attention and for money. It's believed she scammed both individuals and organizations out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Her GoFundMe alone raised around $22,000, while funds for Medicaid and other organizations were stated to have been more than $500,000. The funny thing is, the figure might actually be higher than this. This is a classic case of Munchausen by proxy. For those unfamiliar with it, it's a mental disorder in which a parent or caregiver induces an illness in a child to get attention. Her arrest followed as soon as these discoveries were made, and she was charged with multiple counts of felonies, including first-degree murder. If you are wondering who she murdered, she was charged in relation to her own very own daughter. She was also accused of defrauding individuals and organizations who had given to her on behalf of Olivia. This included organizations like Medicaid and individuals who donated to her online. In January 2022, Kelly shocked the world when she pleaded guilty to felony child abuse, causing Olivia's death. She also pleaded guilty to felony theft and fraud charges. Because of her plea, the first-degree murder charges against her were dismissed. The prosecution and defense agreed to a 16-year prison term for the abuse and a 13-year prison term for fraud and theft. Both charges were to be served concurrently. Patricia Heron, the judge who presided over the case, stated that her sentence would not be reconsidered or reduced in any way. Her children were taken from her care, and the daughter, who was supposedly sick after Olivia passing, never had any symptoms once she was removed from her mother's care. Despite this fact, Kelly insists she only agreed to the guilty plea to spare the family the stress of the trial. As noble as that sounds, that's definitely not what happened. Her trial led to many debates among the general public and experts alike. Many questioned why no one realized what was happening over the thousands well-documented visits of Kelly and Olivia to the hospital. The medical team were also chastised for not recognizing what Kelly was doing. Those who realized it and didn't speak up weren't spared either. It's just not the healthcare professionals who were called out, but the hospital and the general healthcare system were also called out, and the role of healthcare professionals in stopping the kind of abuse that Olivia had suffered became subject of discussion. Olivia's grandfather, who doubled as Kelly's father-in-law, was very upset about the whole thing and filed a lawsuit against the hospital. He believed the healthcare system should have done more for Olivia and that if they had, she would still be alive. He filed the lawsuit not just for his granddaughter's sake, but for all the children who could potentially be in the same situation. A lot of Kelly's demands and behaviors when it came to Olivia's treatment did not add up. For one, she demanded that Olivia be kept on strong anti-seizure medication when there was no need. She kept making demands against the direction of Olivia's doctors. What's more, no one had seen Olivia ever have a seizure, but her mom kept insisting. Also, the fact that there was always something more serious happening to Olivia that only she, Kelly, could see and notice should have been a red flag and dead giveaway. First, it was constipation. Then, Olivia was picky with food. Then, not being able to eat. Then, requiring tubes to be able to eat. And then, stating that the tubes were not working and demanding that Olivia be given intravenous nutrition. Surely someone should have noticed it when she opted for hospice care against all medical advice. It's disturbing to think a mother could have put her daughter through this. In the words of John Kilner, the district attorney, this is a despicable crime. This defendant deserved to serve years behind bars. Clearly, Kelly enjoyed being the center of attention, even if it was making her daughter sick and potentially killing her. She had succeeded in turning Olivia into this tragic media story that everyone followed, and since she was her mother, that naturally gave her a front row seat to everything. It's unfortunate to think that death became Olivia Gant's escape from the torture she endured after 4 years of unnecessary procedures, right from when she was only 3 years old. Stories like this are very heartbreaking, and I share them just to bring awareness. If you are in the USA and you suspect anyone committing child abuse, you can call or text 1-800-422-4453. Professional crisis counselors are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in over 170 languages. Bear in mind that child health hotline crisis counselors can't make the report for you, but they can walk you through the process and let you know what to expect. Let's do our best to make sure no kids get hurt or murdered under our watch. Thank you for doing this, and until we meet again on the next episode, thank you for listening.
The case of a young girl in Colorado that's received national attention. A mother accused of faking her daughter's illnesses and killing her. Kelly Turner was in court today. A friend from Texas was there watching.
I'm just mad at her because it wasn't necessary. The saddest part is we can't go back and get Olivia now.
Ruby King went to church with Turner and her family. She said she knew Kelly and her 7-year-old daughter, Olivia Gant, well. Even helped raise money to pay for Olivia's illnesses. Turner claimed Olivia was sick, even helped make a bucket list for Olivia before she died. Now she's charged in her daughter's death. She's not entered a plea at this point. King says she's not sure how the community or doctors missed the signs, but she is praying for Olivia and Kelly.
We're just all in shock. It's just, you go through every emotion like a death. And now I'm on my heart's tender for her now. At first it wasn't. I thought she was a monster. But, God says, you have to forgive others or he won't forgive us. So that's where I stand.